Good evening, United fans. Good evening, football fans. I say football fans because everybody wants to know what's going on with United at the moment, don't they? We have some major updates tonight regarding BRYAN and Mbeumo. I did a video last night from what I was told, which I got a little bit scared about for the first time regarding BRYAN and Mbeumo. And more reports are coming out on it. And it isn't good news if you want BRYAN and Mbeumo at Manchester United. But still hope. Whether that helps or not, we'll talk about that, obviously. Another Manchester United striker target that apparently we were looking at. Never really made a bid. So is he a target at Manchester United? Has gone, according to reports tonight. Anyway, we'll have United open talks with Ederson. No, is this a clear sign that United might have pivoted and moved to a different type of target right now? Also, all the players are back, including one Onana, and an update on his status at Manchester United and what Ruben Amorim's staff have said that really puts into question what Ruben and his team are up against this season and why they're going to be judged so much. This, along with all of your live chats and all of your comments and interactions throughout the show. As always, welcome along everyone. If you are new, welcome. All we want you to do here on this channel is get into the comments, have your conversations with the other United fans or football fans in there, get some questions across, get your comments into me as well on all of these topics. Let's crack on with the show and get right into it. Plenty to talk about, and we're starting again like we did last night with some more news that Man United fans don't really want to hear when it comes to how this transfer window is progressing. Last night I reported of something that I was told and something that I have basically seen happening here with BRYAN and Mbeumo that didn't really encourage me at all. And that was that it feels like United have hit a roadblock. Again, another day with nothing coming out about BRYAN and Mbeumo. And this is 5 days in a row from when Manchester United were supposedly getting a medical over the line and done for BRYAN and Mbeumo. What is coming out and what we said last night was something has changed behind the scene, and United are asking BRYAN and Mbeumo to push for this deal to now happen to try and move Brentford into giving up to Manchester United's price. This so-called third bid, which never existed anyway, like I said, it was a restructuring of what Manchester United already offered, and that's all they were talking about. So there is no bid realistically rejected. We said this from the get-go. It was the communication and negotiations on top of what has already been offered and restructuring that to make it work better for Brentford in terms of how much comes forward straight away and how easy the add-ons are to make. And we are now in a position where Manchester United, I don't think, are going to budge. That's what I said last night. So here's where we're at right now with BRYAN and Mbeumo, and this is just a source that's come out this afternoon that everybody is talking about, which involves Manchester United's bid for Mbeumo. It's come out from iPaper, basically, iSport, and they're reporting on this, and a few people have requoted it and gone with it, but this sort of aligns with what I was saying last night and the closest thing to it. Recent deals like João Pedro, 60 million to Chelsea, and a move, and sorry, 60 million for João Pedro to Chelsea and Newcastle's £55 million bid for Anthony Elanga have boosted Brentford's asking price to over 60 million, likely extending Manchester United's negotiations. A source suggests a third bid for BRYAN and Mbeumo is not imminent. The biggest Manchester United account on Twitter, the biggest account, which is what you would call an aggregator account, not a content account, just an aggregator account, the biggest one, and this has over 1 million followers as well, have come back after what they said the other day was a third bid had been made and is now going in on Thursday. And this is what they have said regarding that. Sorry, laughing my arse off, so funny update on this one. I have been told by the same source that United ended up not submitting the bid on Wednesday despite prepping it, and they have no idea why. Now they are just saying it's imminent. Big apologies for ruining your day yesterday. That's come from what they said was exclusive. The third bid for BRYAN and Mbeumo is going in today. That was last week. Marco Alcaraz as well put this out similar. It looks like Manchester United were preparing something behind the scenes, and everyone who was told that something is going to happen has not been informed of the change which has happened. Now, you don't even have to look at these accounts. It's not their fault. They've just been told something, by the way, and they are going to take the stick for that, obviously. We have run a few of these stories as well, but where we're up to right now is you've got the whole of the Alex Crook and Ben Jacobs side of things. Where's Ben Jacobs gone today? I've not seen him once yet. He was the one that was saying also last week that the medical was booked and this deal could get done on Friday, maybe Saturday even over the weekend. Oh, this is a weekend that includes a Sunday as well. It didn't happen there either. And now we're into Monday, which Graham Bailey came out and said looks likely to be the day when Manchester United make movement on BRYAN Mbeumo. We're back in training and the first day of training is done and BRYAN Mbeumo is nowhere to be seen. Manchester United, I think, from what I've read here, from everything I said yesterday and what's been reported this afternoon on this, I don't think Manchester United are prepared to meet what Brentford want. They are now banking on this, dragging out and playing the long game with this, with BRYAN Mbeumo, I feel, and letting Brentford sweat on it. And this is probably going to force BRYAN Mbeumo into thinking that Brentford are blocking this move for him. They feel like João Pedro at 60 million, all in, by the way, with add-ons, which is what they're arguing about. For God's sake, Brentford, you can't have it both ways, if this is true, what the report says that is. And Anthony Elanga's 55 million bid from Newcastle has now prompted Brentford into thinking that BRYAN Mbeumo is worth more. So, from that I read, United, we're renegotiating. Everything looked like it was going forward. Everything looked like we were going to go in and restructure this bid. It now looks like Brentford have moved the goalposts. That's all I see in this. They want more now, and they've gone back on what they were originally agreeing with Manchester United. We know that Manchester United have made a realistic bid, which is in the same region as what Matheus Cunha at Wolves' bid was. This, again, they have got this vision in their heads that BRYAN Mbeumo is worth more than 65 million quid. If this has gone anywhere north of 65 million, United would have walked away already. And this is why we're probably looking at this no news period of about 5 days now of no significant update. It's nearly a week of any significant news at all from any big source on BRYAN Mbeumo, from when this was absolutely nailed on, so close to happening, with everybody saying it. Even we had the update from midday today from Fabrizio Romano, and he said that Manchester United's main priority is still BRYAN Mbeumo, and they're still talking to Brentford. There's not much more to talk about. And I'll listen to Ben Jacobs say that these negotiations can go on. You have to be patient. I've said this all along. I'm sorry. Over a month has passed since Manchester United were told that BRYAN Mbeumo only wants them. And Brentford are not buckling on this price. They, in fact, probably at this point now want more from Manchester United. I'm getting more and more convinced that Manchester United are just going to say, do you know what? There are other fish in the sea. We're not going to be taken for a ride here. We're not going to be ripped off. BRYAN Mbeumo is a £65 million player, and every single club on the planet negotiates in a set fee and add-ons as well. What Brentford are asking for is very unrealistic in a modern PSR transfer world. You're not going to get Spurs coming in and offering you 65 million and 60 of that up front, mate. They have just offered 50 million to West Ham for Mohamed Kudus, with add-ons going up to a bit more. And guess what them add-ons were? If Tottenham win the Champions League or the Premier League. Are you having an absolute giraffe there right now, Brentford? Seriously, you think Spurs are going to give you more? Arsenal have bought their players, they're not going to buy him. Newcastle are in for Elanga, they can't afford anyone else right now, they're not going to buy him. Liverpool are not going to buy him because they've just bought in Florian Wirtz. I don't think Manchester City are, because they bought in Shirkey. So where else is this man going to go? You can forget about Chelsea. They're not going to buy him. They're looking for more. They're actually looking to hijack Kudus from Chelsea. So where are Brentford realistically looking at? Are they looking to keep BRYAN Mbeumo? Are they stopping this move happen because they want to keep him? I mean, seriously, I think they should have made it clear from the get-go what the price was, and then not move the goalpost. This purely reads out to me that Brentford have shifted on something here. For it to change like this and go so quiet, something has definitely gone I wouldn't say wrong behind the scenes, but more like I just said, change. Something, a different tact has come about. For them, and these reports, look, and the reports could be false. They could be just fabricated and made up just to fit what's actually happening right now, which is quiet. There's nothing from Ornstein. There's nothing really significant from Fabrizio Romano. I'm trying to think of any other creditable journalist out there at the moment. Any of the Athletic journalists, gone quiet there as well, except for what Laurie Whitwell said the other day, which is that supposed Spurs bid of 70 million. And all of a sudden, I actually still think, going back to that comment on that podcast from Laurie Whitwell alongside Andy Mitten, I think that was when everything started to go south in this deal. And all of these stories come out. And all of a sudden, Brentford are thinking that this invisible bidding war between Manchester United and other clubs. There is one club bidding for Brentford's BRYAN Mbeumo, and it's Manchester United. It's a realistic bid in the environment that we're living in right now. BRYAN Mbeumo, I'm sorry, yes, he had a good season, but he didn't have a fantastic season the season before. He had a very good one. They're making him sound like he is absolute prime Ronaldo right now. And comparing him to other players, I just don't think that's the way that transfers work. It isn't, because there's no one else bidding. And I don't get where they think that Manchester United are going to buckle and pay more for Brentford for BRYAN Mbeumo right now. I don't understand their tactic in this, unless they want to keep him, which is fine. But they're going to have to extend his contract. Then it devalues him with that 1 year added on. And then when he's 27, going on to 28, he'll leave on a free and you won't get nothing for him. And that will probably be BRYAN Mbeumo not signing any new contracts and not willing to negotiate at all with anybody until he gets his free move away. And then that's going to cost Brentford down the long run. This is a very, very, very tricky situation for them, and I think they need to be very careful with it, Brentford here. Look, if they're confident in what they're doing, go for it. I think United will walk away. It's up to Brentford now. I think United have made they've made their stance on this. I really do. I'd be surprised if you see anything north of 65 million come out of Manchester United. That's what I think anyway. Obviously, that's just my opinion alone, but get your thoughts in on this now, everybody, and let's see what we're actually thinking here. Where is everybody's head at right now with this one? What do you think is going on behind the scenes? And we're all guessing here. We're not saying this is a definite. We're only looking at what's been said and what's not happening as such right now, which is that there's no BRYAN Mbeumo in training. There is a report that Mbeumo has not reported for Brentford training as well. Don't know the full ins and outs. I've got no idea personally on that one. I've not seen anything personally. I've seen a couple of quotes online about him not being at Brentford's training. That could have been scheduled anyway. I'm not going to make anything of that, but there's nothing else to really look at apart from what we spoke about last night and where we're at today, which is nowhere nearer to BRYAN Mbeumo signing, and it's just too quiet. It's way too quiet. In deals that are very close, apparently, and I was listening to Ben Jacobs on Saturday on TalkSport saying it's very similar to where Anthony Elanga is with Newcastle right now, the BRYAN Mbeumo situation. After the second bid, still talking, very close, expect it to be done. It feels like Elanga can drop at any moment. It feels like Manchester United and BRYAN Mbeumo is weeks away. That's how it feels. Look, like that, this can change instantly. And Man United might make a breakthrough. They might pay a bit more and Brentford accept it. Brentford might realise that United are not budging and they've got a player that doesn't want to be there, and their budget for this summer on the rebuild with a new manager is hampered by the fact that they can't sell their top asset. Look, whichever way Brentford decide to go with this, I don't think United are for hanging around. I was talking to Kaz before and I was saying, like, can you imagine this drags on till the end of the transfer window? Could actually see this happening. And Manchester United getting BRYAN Mbeumo late in the window because Brentford had made a complete fool out of themselves. Do you know what? In a way, I know it's not good for our hearts. I know it's not good for our temper and our mood. But there's a part of me that wants this now to be Manchester United walking away and then Brentford come back and United sting them right at the end of the window and get him even cheaper. That's what I would like to happen right now. Honestly, miss the pre-season. And just take him, just to actually make a point. Look, in reality, obviously, I do want him in pre-season training with Ruben. I think it's very important that we get him in. But just for the sheer stance that Brentford are taking, because I'm a kind of angry Man United fan because they haven't really, I don't think, looked at this realistically. I get that he's a good player, but he's not worth that. I'm sorry. Let's get into the comments. Sorry, I did carry on a little bit there. Let's see what we've got here. It takes two. Adam, United haven't sold anyone in 9 months. I still reserve hope always, but Ineos need criticism. Trincao, Kudus, others should be used as leverage. Kudus, we're already looking in the realms of that being more expensive than Mbeumo, so we can't use that as an excuse. I don't get what you mean by it takes two. When United get rid of their players, which they will, we'll judge them on that then. We'll talk about Jadon Sancho in a moment as well on this, but if United get rid of Sancho, then that's a deal done, and that's looking quite positive at the moment as well. I know that we should always have a second option there. I actually think that we've already... and this is why I think, and I'm going to go into it in a minute actually, so hold that there, Ryan, on this and where we're at. Peter says, Adam, maybe they're trying to see how much they can get. United should say how much they can get. United should say, right, we gave you this much. Take it or walk away. No other club is looking for him right now. This is where I think United might just do it. I do. Just read the Mbeumo did not report for training today and is unlikely to do so in July. Interesting, that might be, and that's from Cornish Maid there, who's just updated. I've not seen it yet personally, but we will see what happens. Let's see. We can't walk away because our top striker targets have joined our opponents. Were they ever going to join United anyway, mate, is what I'm going to say. Just on this, so I'll just say it out loud right now. And where we're actually at with this, just for all of the naysayers and everyone who is going to run this. Delap's gone to Chelsea, Gyökeres has gone to Arsenal. It looks like Osimhen's on his way now to Galatasaray, and Ekitike's favourite to move to Liverpool. Let's just get it out in the open and get it off our chest so we can all have a little bit of a rant. And let's just go through them already. Manchester United were bidding on Delap, but it was made clear that he wanted Champions League football. And he went for 30 million to Chelsea. It was a 50-50. We didn't get him because we were shit last season. Gyökeres was never coming to Manchester United because they wanted over 60 million for him, and he made it clear he wanted to go Arsenal because they got Champions League football. Victor Osimhen was never coming to Manchester United because, no, we didn't get snubbed by Osimhen. No, he didn't turn us down. We didn't have any of that. We asked him if he would be willing to take a different price on his wages, which were astronomical, and he didn't. So United moved on. So never really in for Osimhen and never made a bid for him. Ekitike, been priced at 100 million. Yes, that may come down, but again, most people on here, when I've mentioned his name, have said, no, we can't have him. He's a 22-year-old from another country that is just the same as Rasmus Højlund. So let's stop bitching and actually look at reality. Did United make a bid for Delap? Yes, we did. The only club and the only player that we approached for a striker was Ipswich and Delap. Forget the other three. We have just made contact. Look, you can use it as leverage to go in against the ownership model if you want, but I'm begging you just to give it a little bit of a look of reality. Manchester United had a plan. It didn't go. He didn't go according to plan, let's say that. They thought they were getting Delap and Cunha. Mbeumo was never on the agenda for Manchester United straight away. I think Mbeumo was a deal later down the transfer window after players were sold. I think our budget stretched to Delap and Cunha. It didn't happen, and this has sent United spiralling. I do, however, have an issue with not having a plan B ready for another striker. In reality, there could have been other strikers out there that United should have looked at, that they knew their budget could stretch to, that wasn't going to last this long, while other clubs were coming in and taking them players away while we were supposedly trying to sell players, of which we have sold none of so far. Breathe. Did I make that quite clear? I don't think we can be moaning about Gyökeres, Osimhen or Ekitike. That's the point I want to make in all of this. They were never realistic targets for Manchester United. We would have liked to have got them, but let's be fair. They made it clear they weren't going to come to United. Ekitike probably would, but who is going to pay that money? Unless that comes down later in the window, then United have played it well, I feel. So let's just be real with what's happening right now when it comes to them. But there you go. There's that situation off our chest, and there's the striker deal right now. No Osimhen. He looks like he's going Galatasaray. Good luck there. And how they're managing that, I do not know. Go bankrupt yourselves by bringing one player in to win probably one of the most one-sided divisions on the planet. Again, like, if that player is happy to go there, you've got to question him in the first place, surely. Right, okay, let's move forward. and try and get through the rest of this news. On the Mbeumo side of things, and this is what I wanted to go back to what Ryan was saying earlier on. I will come to all of the chat again. I want to try and get through as much of this as possible because according to sources in Brazil, Manchester United have actually opened talks with Ederson. Now, we've always reported that United have been in constant contact and United made a bid for Ederson last summer. It's been made clear, apparently, that Ederson is available now. According to the Brazilian sources, he's available for 52.2 million, I think it works out at. No, 52 million, I think, in all. Pounds, that is, sterling. So straight away, you're thinking, right, okay. If I'm looking at this from as a United fan, I'm wondering what Man United are actually doing. And I'm guessing, again, I'm not trying to say that this is what's happening. I'm just giving you the reports and the news and giving my opinion on this and what is in front of Manchester United. We do know, and I'm going off what the Athletic have said here, we do know that Man United want an athletic midfielder. Now, Ederson's got one of the best engines in Europe, and we know this. Whether he adapts to the Premier League, again, it's a gamble. And this is the decision that Man United is going to have to make. I get the people that don't rate Ederson. I get the people that love him. I get the fact that Manchester United know what this player is and have been scouting him for nearly 3 years now while he's been at Atalanta. Contact was made when we were talking about Rasmus Højlund, for God's sake. So we know this player extremely well. And we know that Manchester United already know everything about him and what he brings to this team. I think Manchester United could easily just go, Bruno, 10. No Mbeumo. I don't want this to happen, by the way. I'd rather have Mbeumo. Straight out. I would be gutted if he left. I said that last night. But, worst case scenario, United just say, flipped the bird already and walked away from Brentford for that deal. You're not getting any more money out of us. It's as simple as that. Walk away, pivot over to a midfielder. 52 million. That seems in budget considering what Man United are about to bid for BRYAN Mbeumo. Maybe we could get some decent offer in terms of it maybe being about 40 odd million up front in instalments and then add-ons brought on for Ederson. I think Atalanta would be up for that. And they're a tough negotiator as well. I know this. And obviously, I think we're still going to end up paying decent money for someone like Ederson. But would United pivot and go to Ederson, knowing that you still got Bruno there, you still got Ahmad there, who can go into that number 10 as well, instead of BRYAN Mbeumo? I'm just thinking outside of the box right now and where we might go from here, off the back of the news that Mbeumo might not be coming to United. I still feel I'm about a 70-30, 65-35 I'm at. Mbeumo comes to United right now. I just think it's not going to happen anytime soon. I think United will wait it out. I said it at the top, and that's what the title of the video is pretty much. United will play the long game if they want to. They're not going to buckle. We have to set our stall out in these transfer windows now and make a stand against teams thinking that they can just take us for a ride. And that, I think, is where Manchester United are at right now. I get all of the hate. I get all of the aggro. I get all of the I'm sick of Ineos. They're no good for United. It doesn't look like it, does it, when we're dealing with what we're dealing with right now? I don't. But I honestly always look at things from both sides and I try to be as real as possible. And I don't want us to walk away, but I'm okay with walking away. Even though it's took 5 weeks and there's a lot of people that won't agree with me on that. I'm fine with it. Honestly, I am. If you don't think that United should walk away from Mbeumo now, I totally get what you're saying. I really do. Saeed is in the house as well, everybody. Say hello to Saeed, legend. Hope you're doing well, my man. Yes, we are getting close to 90k. Thanks for that, mate. Love that, Saeed, buddy. Thank you. I mean, where are we at? I'm going to come to the chat now. Just to quickly give you the sort of in on where the news has come from on the Ederson one. Again, it's come from Brazil, and there's a couple of different outlets from Brazil reporting it now. Manchester United, Inter and Juventus have all contacted the entourage of Ederson about a potential transfer. Atalanta is demanding 60 million euros, which, like I said, equates to about 52 million. Right now. So, yes, that I think is fair for that type of player and where he's at in his career right now, in his prime. The conversation will, again, go on whether we think he's good enough between the Man United fan base. Let's get some thoughts on this, actually. Do United move away, and where do we move away to? Sorry, it's all the fault of Ginge. I've been optimistic all along. He's broken me. I'm trying to keep my cool. I think there must be something going on in the chat there. Ginge, you're being blamed. I'm sorry, mate. A journalist who briefs for Valencia said that Guerrero wants to stay at Valencia, but he wants a new contract. I've seen that before, Jack. That's what the video was at midday, everybody. The actual breakdown on everything that's happening with the Javi Guerrero situation is there on that video from earlier on if you need to know. I think United are being used again. There is contact, and we do know about Guerrero, and he is a player that Manchester United have looked at for the last 2 years. I've reported on it. I've read the reports. But at this stage, Manchester United don't just bang, jump on the scene and make a sale. They don't. But it is what it is. United are getting used again, I think, with this one. And it looks like he probably signed a good contract at Valencia. And then Valencia will put a big sell-on clause on that. And then they'll probably make fortunes. That's what I think will happen in that one. And unless United can really trick him away, I don't think that's happening. We need to get these rejects off the books. Just put all the clubs on notice. The highest bidders get Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony, Malacia, Sancho, and put 7-day deadline on it on eBay. Easy work. Henry says, Sir Jim Radcliffe and Ineos are no different to the Glazers, so you are kidding yourself if you think otherwise, Adam. In my opinion, that's fine to your opinion there, Henry, but they're not the same as the Glazers because, for one, they have put their own money in. Two, they have bought people in who are competent and know football and running Manchester United. And I made the example earlier on, and you can say what you want about Ineos, but if Ineos were in situ 2 years ago and we went into that window where we bought Mason Mount, Andre Onana and Rasmus Højlund, I guarantee you, if we had the people working here working now, back then, none of them players would have been bought and we wouldn't have spent anywhere near that much money. So they are different. They're not the same. They are dealing with the Glazers shitstorm that they have left, though, and they're going to be tarnished with the same brush. So, in a way, Henry, I get your point, mate. I do. And I'm not deluded in what I'm thinking. I see a businessman coming in who has put football people in charge of the football club that are trying but are failing at the moment. Is that fair enough? I think that's quite fair in balancing that out, really, doesn't it? I think that's both sides there. A number of 8 bigger priorities. A number 8 is a bigger priority for me than number 10 when we already kept Bruno. I still want Mbeumo, though, a lot. We're stuck there, aren't we? Now we've had a taste of Mbeumo potentially being a United player. We want him. But really, we know 10 is not the biggest priority at United. Unless you go down the road of Ruben really wants the masters in that position for what he wants to do. But can we really be picky right now in having 2 of them coming in the same window when we need a 9 and 8, a keeper, and potentially another flying wing-back? That's for everyone to decide. I can see Xerxes playing up front as well, Cornish Maid. I think that is going to be something that is forced upon us right now. We will need new owners. End of Adam. Only way to move up the league is to spend money. The Glazers have massively shafted us. Ineos slept with the Glazers. I hate my club. We're 1 billion in debt. No real issue with what you said there, mate. Unfortunately, Stu, it is where this football club is at right now. It's in the shitter, innit? When you look at everything. It's a slow process. It's a steady climb. We're not going to leap. We're not going to challenge. We can maybe scrape into Europe and get in there. That is definitely doable. But it is going to come down to this window. It is. Honestly, I was saying it before. I was on a walk before. And I just said, I was like talking to Kaz there. I'm like, if we see Dallo, Onana and Rasmus Højlund start against Arsenal, it will feel like we've actually gone backwards rather than forwards. It will feel like that. And the only reason that they would play is because we didn't get Mbeumo and Ahmad is further up front as a number 10 alongside Cunha. We haven't got another striker, so Rasmus has to play. And we haven't dealt with the goalkeeping situation. If that happens, oh God, and Arsenal batter us and Gyökeres scores, the headlines I couldn't even defend because I know what's coming. You all know what's coming. I'm not gonna scaremonger it. I'm not gonna say that the world is ending like some people are, and this club is absolutely dead. There is still a half a chance to salvage this transfer window yet. And again, I do think that moving away from Mbeumo does open up a couple of avenues for United. Seen a few people just saying get Vlahovic in. Again, I don't think if we're going to move away from getting Mbeumo as the top target, I don't think we're going to get what I always seen as a second striker for Manchester United in Vlahovic. I don't see us spending the money on that. I think it would be a better striker. We are shocking at negotiating deals in the market, as other clubs aren't clearly have to blame others. Have to blame who's accountable for that. Adam, spend Mbeumo money on the top midfielder. Play Bruno next to Cunha because Bruno's not a CM anyway. I mean, we just did say that, Ginge, actually. I think we did just describe it that way. It's not the end of the world when it comes to having someone in that position if Mbeumo doesn't sign. We have got cover. We've got Ahmad, we've got Mount, we've got Bruno. You'll have Cunha there as well. It does give you a chance to go out and get a good player in if you don't spend the money on Mbeumo. And still, I want Mbeumo. I'm greedy. I'm greedy right now. I still think we can get a midfielder in with selling players on. Now, the Jadon Sancho situation and where that is at, that is moving on again. Even more reports today that the deal is actually 28 million euros now for Jadon Sancho. So it's going up and up and up. We're up now near about 24 million, plus the 5 that Chelsea are giving us. So 29 million for Jadon Sancho instead of 25 from Chelsea. Can we say that that's a positive? Surely we can all agree that that is actually something good. Yes. There's that word again. Please. It's not done yet. And every single one of these reports is all saying that today, later today, going through the night, obviously into tomorrow, is massive for getting Jadon Sancho out. They're all on the same page at least. So at least we're not looking at reports on Sancho, one saying one and one saying a complete different story. At least we're all talking from the same hymn sheet, singing from the same hymn sheet here, aren't we? And it looks like this deal is getting so close. Honestly, it is ready to celebrate. I am ready to go when it comes to Jadon Sancho. It will be one of them momentous days in Manchester United's history. It's a bit far-fetched, I know, but still, when considering how important it is for the changing of the guard at Manchester United and turning that page over, I think he is the flagship sale for Manchester United. I think he is the one that everyone will look at and go, effing finally, Sancho is out of the door. That, I think, is massively important for this football club. I really do. I think it is a case of, right now, Manchester United are in agreement with Jadon Sancho in terms of the Juventus part of it. The bid is, and what these sources are saying, all done and dusted, all ready to go. It's just getting Jadon Sancho to agree that contract. And I think that is the major part in this. And this is what they're all saying is now moving ever, ever closer when it comes to getting this deal over the line. So that, I think, is big, big news for Manchester United. And like I said, still getting Mbeumo and use the money from Jadon Sancho. By the way, it is significant on Jadon Sancho's side. And what we're looking at with Jadon Sancho isn't just that transfer fee. It's also that contract which Manchester United are saving a lot of money from when it comes to what they're paying out a year. So PSR-wise for Jadon Sancho, when you look at what he's actually on at Manchester United, it's actually staggering. He's on over 10 million a year in wages. So he's on approximately about 11 million at the moment, Jadon Sancho, according to the stats and what's up online. Jadon Sancho on that, and obviously that being gone gives you so much room. There's nobody going to get anywhere near that type of contract this summer with Ineos in charge. So that's 10 million gone in wages, which helps financial fair play massively. And obviously the transfer fee on top, which pretty much covers that last instalment for Jadon Sancho as well. And you got a bit of change. Added to that, the money that we should be getting from Elanga and Alvaro Fernandez. It's not a bad situation. I think there's money there to spend on a midfielder. And we don't have to actually go and put the rest of that money that we make off Sancho and the other sales onto Mbeumo. Stand your ground on Mbeumo and make them sweat, I think. I'm actually, in a weird way, and I know I'm convincing myself right now, I'm happy with our stance on the Mbeumo side of things. I actually believe that Manchester United can possibly get the deal that they want out of this. Let's get some more comments in on everything. Dallo and Bruno will return to training next week, it says Fabrizio Romano. Yeah, they were given an extended week through compassionate leave because of the sad passing of Diogo Jota last week. So they have been given that. We're expecting some more players to come late in the likes of Casemiro as well, who is also coming back. Rasmus Højlund, who is late. Chido, obviously, as well, who played in that I think it was under 20 tournament. So he's played more football again later on. And then you're looking at the other players like Bruno and Dallo, like we just mentioned there. In terms of the Fantastic Five that are not coming back, they will never train with this Manchester United side again. Going off how Manchester United have planned out this whole window. They're expecting to have sold all of them players by the time United get back from tour. And that is, I think, the first week of August when Manchester United return, because we've got another friendly to welcome back and say a farewell to David De Gea against Fiorentina. So that's the script for United. The players can use the facilities, but obviously United will be out of town in a couple of weeks anyway, heading out to the Premier Cup, I think it is, over in America. So them players, them five, if they haven't found the club, then they can use the facilities at Carrington and train on their own. How must that make them feel? No pre-season at all in terms of games for them players. Surely it's got to be sinking in with them players right now. Boxing says, honestly, the state we are in, Sancho and Rashford, Garnacho out and then Mbeumo in, I'm happy. People are dropping the standards already. I saw Dumfries for 25 million euros, which is a bargain if true. Yep, City all over that one, I'm afraid. Other teams are quick on signing, but Manchester United are slow. Again, I disagree with that one. There isn't anybody else really making moves that is outside of the Champions League right now, I don't think. Have Aston Villa bought anyone? Newcastle still trying to get Elanga over the line. That's not finalised yet. Who else have we got in there? Nottingham Forest. Little bits of movement here and there, but nothing much. Spurs? Has anybody seen Spurs? Has anybody seen a signing for Spurs yet? I mean, if we were in their position having Champions League football, I'm sure he would be moving forward with a few deals right now. I think Mbeumo and Gyökeres would have already been signed by Man United if we'd have won that final. But Spurs, no, I'm sorry, I don't believe it. Like, the teams in the Champions League with that money, and again, it makes a massive difference to be in the Champions League for the finances of football clubs. If we had that, it would have been a different ball game for United this summer. Whether or not we would have still tried to skimp and scrape and balance the books, I have no idea. But it is so much easier with the guarantee of Champions League money coming in to Manchester United. So, yes, I still feel that United are thinking they can cover most of their sales this summer with outgoings also exiting the football club. I really do think that Manchester United's net spend will be the lowest it has been since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club. I think the lowest spend in over a decade is coming this summer for Manchester United. I personally do. I think we will spend enough money. I think we will spend still. But, I mean, to be honest, like, we're negotiating a deal right now which is going to take our spend up to over 125 million this summer so far. So we know we're going to spend. But I think the net spend will be very, very low for Manchester United this summer. And Jadon Sancho is already going to take a piece out of what we've already spent. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that one. Question marks on Ruben Amorim. And I'm bringing this up simply because the players have returned today. And everyone, well, not everyone, but most of the squad has come back to training. One of them players is Andre Onana. The last time I seen Andre Onana pictured driving into Carrington by the media was when he was driving in with his agents because he was bitching about his wages being so low. And he doesn't think that he should have that 25% cut out of his wages for not being in the Champions League. That was the last time I seen a picture of him walking in. And I had nightmares, flashbacks going back to that day. I remember doing a video on it. You absolute clown. How can you even think of negotiating a new contract in the middle of everything that's going on at this football club right now with the job cuts and everything. That just shows you the character of this guy, who is completely oblivious to everything going on. That's how I read the situation, because you all know what was going on at the time. You all know the cuts and the staff that was suffering, the atmosphere, and then he was driving in with his agent wanting a new deal. Not even 2 years in on his current one, he's not happy that he's not getting full pay because we're not in the Champions League. He doesn't believe he should be part of that because he's so different to everyone else in this squad. But Chris Wheeler today has also said that Manchester United have named a price. Now, this is Chris Wheeler trying to appease the Manchester United fans and still act like he's been slightly ruthless with his reporting. United want this much for Andre Onana after saying that he is expected to stay. So basically saying United have put a price on Onana's head. He could be sold this summer. And then he brought up the report about Monaco being interested in Andre Onana and then monitoring the situation, but then saying that 30 million is too much. 30 million is too much for Andre Onana. 15 million is too much for Andre Onana right now. Honestly, I get what United are thinking here because of what they paid. But again, going back to what I said this morning, the reality is you're not going to get what you want for these players. I'm sorry. It is impossible. Impossible. And we reported this morning as well from The Athletic that they have come out and said now, after speaking to Manchester United, or representatives, that they have not named a price on Garnacho yet. Yeah, I can see some serious backpedaling right here, right now. A reality is hitting home that no one's going to spend that money on Garnacho. I said it before, no one is going to spend 30 million on Andre Onana. You'd be lucky to get 20 for that guy. And he's not being sold this summer. I think that's pretty much laid it out for us there. Who would? Let's be honest, who would? Look, I want him out like everybody, but I'm going to be real about it again. Andre Onana is more than likely going to be in between them sticks against Arsenal on opening day. And then you got to start judging Ruben Amorim. Like, you seen what this man did to us last season. You saw the chaos that this guy can create in goal for Manchester United. But then on top of that, a report from Chris Wheeler says that George Vittel, Ruben Amorim's goalkeeping coach, is satisfied with Andre Onana in goal. That's a goalkeeping coach satisfied. I'm now beginning to think that Ruben's staff might actually be a bit of a problem there in that scenario. Not overall, because like we said, they've got a good record and Ruben trusts them. We have to trust them. But on this is where the questions are going to come in. Why wasn't this addressed in the summer? Everybody knew that Manchester United needed another goalkeeper. And Andre Onana turning out again next season. And all anybody is doing right now, Mikel Arteta is sat there going, oh, here we go. Opening day, Old Trafford. That looks like a tricky fixture. Andre Onana's in goal, Mikel. Okay, maybe not. There we go, boys. Let's fill our boots. That's what that is. Every single opposition fan laughing their balls off right now at Manchester United, still having him in goal next season. And I said it, I can see a scenario where we'll have Dalot, we'll have Andre Onana and Rasmus Højlund all in that team starting against Arsenal, and it will feel like nothing's changed, like we've gone completely backwards. Yeah, you might have a couple of faces there, potentially, that might salvage something and give me a little bit more confidence. In fact, I am more confident just having Matheus Cunha in the team. Honestly, that and Bruno, and obviously having Ahmad starting, a fully fit defence, Dorgu a full pre-season and hopefully has moved on, having just been thrust into the limelight and the nightmare which is Manchester United's worst ever season midway through it. I feel a little bit more confident already, and I'm expecting Ruben to get more out of these current players, obviously, but you're coming up against one of the title contenders on the opening day. And if we lose at home on the opening day, having won I think it was 1 in 9 coming into the back end domestically of last season at Old Trafford, and we start the season off with a bad defeat to Arsenal, Ruben's up against the wall instantly. And then, I'm telling you, Fulham away straight after that, that's not easy. He needs more. He needs more. Like, Ruben can only do so much. And I expect these players to be better, like I said. And having no interruptions of European football, you'd expect them to also. But he needs more players in. And if Andre Onana is in between the sticks for Manchester United, anything is possible for Man United going forward next season in terms of what results are going to be thrown away. Because that guy will will indeed. He makes us worse. He does. And I do think that United will buy a goalkeeper, but I still think it'll be a big push to, say for instance, you brought in John Victor, and he came in for between 5 and 10 million, which is reported at the moment. He's not going to dislodge Onana straight away. It's going to take time to integrate him in, and Onana will be in goal. We cannot afford to fall behind quickly in this league. Look, a draw against Arsenal on the opening day is a brilliant result for Man United. We just cannot get off to a losing start. There has to be some form of positivity kickstart this season. And with him in goal, I just lose confidence instantly. And I'm guessing the rest of the players do. They can say what they want, but behind the scenes, you know that they're not happy with him in between the sticks. Everything that they do is countered by him ballsing it up, in my opinion. Enough on him anyway. Let's get some more comments coming in. Jamie says, Adam, I do love your positivity. That's why I watch, subscribe and pay a membership. A big plus is the fan interaction on this channel is fantastic. I feel like I've made some great mates. Jamie, absolutely love that. You're going right to the top of the list for the best comment of the day. Super chats in. Let's just get through a couple of these and then we'll move on to the chat as well. Ant with a few of these. Get Ederson, Bruno at 10, loan Ramos in. That will do for now. The loan market could come into play for United. Something we've not spoken about. Just tell Brentford we'll wait a year for him. The problem you've got with that is, mate, they have an option to trigger and it is on the club's decision as well for BRYAN Mbeumo. So that last year of his contract can be extended. Sorry. On Onana, is that supposed to say? It can sit on the bench if you don't like it. Yeah, true. Jack Jones with another super chat says Onana just needs to get in the bin. He does. And Daniel, thank you for renewing that membership. I can genuinely see us losing 3 of the first 5 opening games. There's Burnley that you would bank on, isn't there? But what have we got? We've got it's Arsenal and Chelsea into early doors for United. Oh, yeah, Fulham's a tough one away as well. Lots of travelling to do for the United fans. Again, early doors in this season. It's Brighton, isn't it? Yeah, it's Brighton as well. Oh, God. Scary thoughts. Scary thoughts. More comments coming on. Sancho and Garnacho are rude. Let them find a club. Let them find a team, sorry. True. Classico says, I watched the Zubi Doo interview. Funny. Funny gully guy. We're spineless as a team and spineless in leadership, says Boxing. Come on, add something to that, Boxing. Does that mean that you want to buy Ederson? Is that what you're getting at? Callum says, slow on transfers has always been United's problem. It's down to poor ownership and it's clearly down to not being efficient enough in the market as other clubs are quick and fast. Yes, other clubs in the Champions League. Again, I still feel like right now, even Brentford's BRYAN Mbeumo saying he wants to come to United more than anyone else. We've not got a deal done, I know that, but the fact that he's actually saying he wants to come to Manchester United, that I think is massive for us right now. It is. By the way, everybody, if you want to continue the chat and come on and have a chat with me, we are running our weekly calling show over on Big Up. The link is in the live chat, everybody, right there. So go across, click on that link, completely free. Come and join us. We'll carry on this conversation, talking through all the transfers and what's going on around United there as well. And obviously, we will get some of your thoughts on as well and bring a few people on to have a chat. Obviously, on any of Manchester United's transfer activity over the last week, my God, where do you even start? It's a long list, isn't it? It really is. Joe says, well, Ruben wanted to keep Bruno and said he'd get the money for new players elsewhere. He made his bed and he can lie in it. Interesting, Joe, on that one. Ruben did say that. So, yeah. Can we make it? Vanjo Milinkovic-Savic to Leeds. I've not seen that one insane game off. That must be a new report that's coming out tonight. Links are all there and links in the description as well for our match bingo, which we are running. I'll be talking more about match bingo tomorrow, everybody, and the specials that are on this week as well. Let's get through. David Onstein has also touched on the Ollie Watkins situation as well, and just reiterated the fact that Villa want to keep Watkins there at Villa Park. And again, that looks like another potential link that United could be going for. Not on the cards. Unless United pull off some miraculous kind of swap deal with somebody. I don't know. But again, like the noises at the moment is that Barcelona are moving back in for Diaz. And also Bayern Munich looking at Diaz before Marcus Rashford. Again, our players are second rate to everybody. And I just feel like our players are that bad, they're not going to move until the end of the window or when teams start to get a little bit desperate. I think it's going to be a long, drawn-out summer. And the season starts in less than 6 weeks, I think it is now. And so things have to get moving, they really do. Look, I've not asked you to like the video once today, so here we go. Please pop a like on the video, everybody, if you are loving the content. We're over 500 again, so if you do love the content and are getting involved in the chat right now, and daily you're in here, give the video a like. Obviously, hit that subscribe button as well. Both of them things are free and help the channel no end. That's all I'll say. Thank you, everyone who has already done so. Absolutely love the show. I'm going to wrap things up there. We're going to move things across to a big up now anyway. So click on that link in the live chat or in the description, everybody. Get across and let's have our chat. Let's get a few people on board with that as well. Get a few comments in and obviously get a few callers in as well. So if you want to have more of a say on what's happening right now, get over to Big Up, everybody. I'll see you all over there. Thank you, everyone. Mods, fantastic job again in the chat. Have a great evening, everyone, and I'll see you all a little bit later. In fact, just a couple of minutes because you're all going to